know about you, but just like the song says, precious memories. When you think about whenever Christ gave his life for us, that was a precious memory for each one of us, that, hey, it gave us an opportunity to have life and have it more abundantly. I don't know about you, but that's what I look forward to. It's not the things of this world, but it's what's hereafter. He says lay aside things that so easily beset us so we can run towards that mark that he has set in front of us. And that prize that he has for each one of us is heaven. But you've got to make that choice, and you've got to make that your home. You've got to be the one to do it. I can't do it for you, and you can't do it for me. It's a personal relationship with him. And whenever you accept him in your life, you just paid the way to heaven, and he just made you, like he said, he went to prepare us a place. And he is going to prepare us a place. It's a place where nothing can hinder us. There's no crime, there's no sadness, but there's joy everlasting. And if you want that today, all you got to do is give your heart and life to him and say, I'm yours. And that's all it takes. And he'll do the rest. He'll give you everything that you need, everything that you desire, but you got to do your part. And in thinking about Memorial Day, I was kind of like tossing up in the air, and it's kind of funny. Karen always says, what are you going to preach on? And I'm like, I can't tell you. Because, I never know until the last minute, because it always changes. I could study all week long, have something prepared, and a few minutes before, God changes his plan, because he knows who's going to be in the service today and what they need. And that's how he does things. He wants us to open our hearts and our ears to him and listen to the word this morning. So when I think about Memorial Day, I think about something that is memorable. And for me, it's when I gave my heart and life to Jesus. God sent his only son to the world so that I could have life and have it more abundantly. He gave his only son. What more for me is to give my life to him, so I can be a living example, a beacon, a light to the world. What do you say? You are a light to the world. And some of us are like, you buy light bulbs in different wattages, okay? Some are like 40 watt, some are 50 or 60 watt, and some are 100. Not to say that, you're not just as good as anybody else, but he prepares each one of us to touch a different person. My 100 watt can't touch a 40 watt person. Your 40 watt can't touch 100. So God allows each one of us to be on different levels so we can reach different people. I can't reach everyone, but he has allotted each one of us to reach one person. And if we can reach that one person, you know what it's through? It's through love. Love covers a multitude of sin. And if we can reach one person with the love that Christ has given us, then we've made the difference.
That's right.
And if we all just reach one person, just look around the room and see how many people's here today. We all reach one person. What a difference it can make in this world. But we've got to be that difference to the world. In 2 Timothy 4 and 15, it says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course, and I've kept the what? Faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So if you can't see it, sometimes people don't believe it. But that's where Christ steps in. And he makes a believer out of everyone. He makes a way where there seemeth no way. But we've got to be able to do what he has asked us to do. And he says, henceforth, in verse 8 of 2 Timothy 4, it says, henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto them that love his appearing. So he has prepared a way for each one of us, but we got to do our part in order to get there. He didn't say, he said, and not for me only. So it's not just for me, but it's for each one of us here in this sanctuary today. If we want to receive what God has given us and prepared for us, we've got to love one another, keep his commandments, and follow after him. That's the only three things he asks us to do. How hard is that? Sometimes we may not be able to see where he's going to lead us, but we've got to have the faith in order to know that he's not going to take us where he's not going to prepare us or give us the things that we need. He's not going to send us to battle without giving us everything. Just like little David. Take for instance. He was small in stature, but yet he come up against a mighty, mighty big man. Okay, and a lot of people thought it was kind of a little awkward because all he had in his little hand was a sling and 5 stones. And you're like, okay, thanks. I appreciate that help. It wasn't an army, and he didn't have the armor that everybody else had, and so everybody looked at him as if he was small, as if he was nothing. Yeah, you're going to fight that giant, we're going to just see. But you know what? God had other plans.
Amen.
He did put on the armor, but it was way too much for him. Sometimes, we try to put on things that are not us, okay? But God says, hey, I got you. He said, just do as I asked you to do. So he sent little David out there. He gets out there. He comes before the giant. Even the giant laughed at him. Sometimes the enemy will laugh at us because we may not seem like we have much and we can fight the battle, but God, in the end, but God will supply the need, okay? So David took out his little stone. Yeah, Goliath had everything covered but one place, and God knows exactly where to put us at exactly the time we need to be there. Just like he put that stone. So David took out the sling, even though he was small in stature and didn't have much but a rock. But God placed that rock at exactly the right place that he needed it to go. So David left it all in God's hands, just like what we need to do with our life. We need to leave our life in his hands, and he'll do exactly what he wants us to do. Exactly the right time. So David, once again, he believed. He didn't see that, okay, I'm going to fight this big old guy and I'm little and I can't do it, and pack up and go home. He had the faith to move the mountain that was standing before him. He believed that God was going to do it no matter what. So he stepped out on faith. So he gave God all the credit. He let it go. And as soon as he let that rod go, even though Goliath was covered from head to toe, God put it right where he needed it to go. And who would have thought a rock could kill such a great guy? I mean, really, you're like, the odds are way against you, and that's never going to happen. But you put God behind something, and God will do the impossible. He'll make the impossible possible. And in your life, God will make the impossible possible. You just got to give him that little bit of faith. He said if you have the faith of a grain of what? Mustard seed. You know how little mustard seed is? It took down a giant.
Yes.
Just a little stone took down a giant. Throughout the Bible, you can look at passages of Scripture and know that with God backing anything, it can happen.
Yes.
So when Goliath came down to the ground, the people were astonished and amazed because they were like, wait a minute. They wanted to know how. A lot of times in our life, the enemy and the world want to know how. Why? They don't understand. But God, in the midst of everything, but God knows and will supply every need. And he went to prepare me a place. He went to prepare you a place. But you've got to do what you're supposed to do in order to get there. Okay, and in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 says, whosoever seeing we also are compassed about with such a great cloud of witness, that we lay aside every sin and weight that doeth so easily beset us, and let us, what? Walk? No, he said let us run. Run with patience the race that is set before us. Why do you think he said run? Because if you're running, nothing can catch you. The devil can't get a hold of you. But if you stop long enough, the devil can grab a hold of you. But he can't get you unless you allow him to. Unless you allow him to. The devil can't get you unless you allow him to. Unless you open that door. But we've got to be able to be strong enough to run this race that is set before us. Just like David. Even throughout his life, yeah, he was just a little shepherd boy. He watched sheep, and that's all people thought of him as. But God used something so small to do something so great. And we look at ourselves sometimes and say, I'm nothing, in this world. But God can take us and use us to do something great for Him. But we got to be willing. We got to be willing. In James chapter 2, verse 22, or verse 1, James chapter 1, verse 22, it says, But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own self. For if any be hearers of the word, and not doers, he is like unto a man beholding a face in a natural glass. So let's not just be hearers of the word. We've heard the word for how many years? But let us be doers of the word. Let us go out into this world. And when you think about Memorial Day, let's think about something that you remember about doing God's work. Just like with Christ sending His Son for us. Let us remember like the good deeds that we do for Christ in His name. He said if you go out in the highways and hedges and compel them people to come in, the ones that nobody wants, the ones that nobody wants to be around, the ones that you don't ever think's going to, be anything, God can turn those people around and make them something. And that's just, what I think about whenever I think about Memorial Day. I think about these soldiers that went out and paid away for we can have freedom. And what kind of freedom do we have in Christ? That we're able to worship God and that we're able to, be free in Him. And in verse 12 of chapter 1 in James, it says, Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love Him. So if you love God this morning, He has prepared a way for you. He has built you a mansion, and all you got to do is receive it. And all you got to do is say, here I am, take me and use me. And, sometimes, like I said, seeing is believing sometimes. But faith is the substance of things hoped for. Just remember this verse. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So sometimes we can't see the things, but we just got to believe it. God is going to do whatever He needs to do for us, and He will prepare the way for us. Yeah. So when you reflect back, I have fought the good fight. I have kept the faith. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. So whenever you think about this, at the end, I want to be able to say, I have fought a good fight. I have given everything I could possibly give that could help someone. I have, been the light. I have been that light that's set on a hill that cannot be hid. I don't want to blend in with the world, but I want to stand out so that they can see something different in me and know, hey, I want what they've got. I want to know the difference. Just like we call her Sunshine. She's, smiling all the time and just, what do you think about when you think about sunshine? It's something that brightens everybody's day, puts a smile on their face. That's what Christ can do for each one of us. We just got to be willing, and we got to accept what God has given us. And doing that, go out the rest of the weekend and know that God has prepared a way for us. Yes. He has given us everything that we need. All we got to do is pick it up and run that race that is set before us. And when we do that, we have a better yet to come. But until we step out on faith and believe that God can do these things, what good is it going to do for us? If we don't accept it, and if we don't believe it, then it's not going to do us any good. But let us be that light. Whether you're a 40 watt, 60 watt, or 100 watt, it doesn't matter. As long as you're shining for Him and doing the best that you can for Him, that's all that's going to matter in the end. So I hope y'all got something out of this today to know that no matter what, God is going to be with you even until the end. He said He'll walk with you. He will be your best friend. He'll be anything that you need. All you got to do is just reach out to Him. And I promise you, if you reach to Him, He's going to reach back and He'll be there. When a lot of people and best friends are, I grew up with this best friend, and when we graduated high school, we were best friends from like 3rd grade. When we graduated high school, she said, well, I guess this is where we go our separate ways. You have your life and I have mine. And I was like, I thought a best friend was like supposed to go with you like throughout life. And I have this one that we've been friends since 7th grade, and we're still close today as we were the day I met her. And that's what it's about. It's about being there. And Christ will be that person for you. If you don't have anybody, you just call on Him, and in that instant, when you say Jesus, everything else ceases. Just like going back to the parable, whenever Peter was walking on the water, right before he walked on the water, the storm had came. What did Christ say? All He said was, peace be still, and everything ceased. And that can happen in our life today. All He's got to say is, peace be still, and everything will just calm down. And all we got to say is Jesus. When everything gets in turmoil and we can't seem to find our way, all we need to say in the midst of all of it is Jesus.